Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Scoring a good grade in English is deceptively simple. You need to know the expectations of the examiner if you want to get a good grade in English paper. Today we are going to discuss section 2 of paper 1, and section 2 of paper 1 is creative writing. In creative writing, we know that we are given essays. 5 topics of essays are given. This is the marking scheme, and today we are going to do the marking scheme analysis of narrative writing. There are 5 essays given in section 2, and you need to write between 350 to 500 words. Total marks for this section are 30. You know that. There are descriptive essays, descriptions, arguments, and narratives. We know that there are 2 narrative essays given. This is the marking scheme of October-November 2019, your latest attempt, and zone 1, paper 1-1. So there were 2 narratives given, number 5 and number 6, and in total there are 5 topics given, and you have to choose only one. So there is quite a lot of choice in this, but doing a narrative or argument or descriptive can be, I told you, that deceptively simple. I have also given you a lecture on narrative writing, how to do a narrative writing, what are the tips and techniques, and the rules of writing a narrative, the method of writing a narrative. And if you have missed that video, if you have missed that lecture, I will be including the link of that in the description of this same video, so make sure you watch that again too. So narrative writing: write a story which includes a sentence: when she tried to open the door, she was surprised that the key did not fit. Number 6, write a story in which a science laboratory plays an important role. Now today we are going to see the marking scheme. Total marks are 30, and all these 30 marks are for language. But remember that language does not only include the sentence structure, the verb forms, the vocabulary, the punctuation, the spelling, and the unity of the paragraphs. It also includes the appropriateness and content. So this is also included in the language part. In the directed writing, we see that we have the 30 marks are divided into 2 categories. One is the completion of the task, and the other is the language. But here all 30 marks are for the language, and the highest band is band 8, 27 to 30 marks. If you fall in band 8, you are sure to get an A star. So in order to get 27 to 30 marks, your language should be highly accurate, apart from very occasional slips. And the description of this is that sentence structure varied for particular effects. Some sentences are simple sentences, some sentences are compound sentences, some sentences are complex sentences, and depends on the number of clauses that a sentence contains. So the sentence structure should be varied. It should not be like this कि सारे sentences are simple sentences, or all sentences are compound sentences, or all the sentences are complex sentences. There should be a variation to give the particular effect that is intended, and I am talking about narrative, remember. Verb forms largely correct, and appropriate tenses consistently used. Remember all these points that are from sentence structure till evidence of planning. They relate to this marking scheme criteria relates to descriptive, argumentative, as well as narrative. Okay, so we are talking about narrative at the moment. Vocabulary wide and precise. Verb forms largely correct. Past form, past participle form should be correct. Appropriate tenses consistently used. When we talk about narrative, we know that we write narrative in the past tense. So if you have chosen to write it in the past tense, which you of course you will consistently write it in the past tense. I keep on repeating this, that once you choose to write in the past tense, keep on writing in the past tense. Do not hover between the tenses. So this Vocabulary wide and precise, appropriate, right word at the right place is the good vocabulary. You need not to use very difficult words or jargons in your narrative writing. The vocabulary should be simple, wide and precise. Punctuation accurate and helpful, comma, full stop, hyphens, and to write dialogues you use inverted commas. All these punctuation marks should be used appropriately: dashes, semicolons, commas, colons. Do not use them sparingly. I mean, do not try to overuse them to tell them that you know the punctuation. Punctuation should be accurate, and it should be helpful, because what does the punctuation do? It actually conveys the meaning, clarifies the meaning of your writing. It helps you, it helps the writer, and it helps the reader to understand it. So the punctuation should be used in a helpful and accurate manner. Spelling accurate, apart from very occasional slips. In the marking schemes, even in the highest bands, the occasional slips are not penalized. I mean, spelling, you have written 350 to 500 words and you have made 2 spelling mistakes, so that may not be penalized. Paragraphs have unity and linked and show evidence of planning, that you have planned your essay. And planning your narrative, I've already discussed in one of my lectures, the narrative that I just told you about, and I will be including that lecture, that video in the description of this lecture. Now then, appropriateness and content. Consistently relevant, interest aroused and sustained, tone and register entirely appropriate. Then descriptions have well developed images, we are not talking about descriptions. Arguments are well developed, we are not talking about arguments. Yes, this one. Narratives are complex, sophisticated, possibly tense, and may contain devices such as flashbacks. So one thing is very clear, that and may contain, I mean, it is not necessary that it has to contain a flashback if you want to get an A star or fall in the highest band in the marking scheme, but may contain flashbacks. So one thing is for sure, or if not sure, it is very much probable that you have to use flashbacks in your narratives if you want to get an A star. So these are the expectations of the examiner if you want to fall in the highest band. Highly accurate writing. For the highest band, the writing should be highly accurate. For the 7th band, the writing should be accurate. For the 6th band, mostly accurate. For the 7th band, sufficiently accurate. For the 4th band, overall meaning never in doubt, but error sufficiently. So you keep on going down. The expectations of the examiners also go down. The writing has many serious errors, then you will fall in band number 3. You will get only 7 to 10 marks. And the narratives are very simple and may not narrate events indiscriminately. And punctuations in paragraphs are haphazard. Spellings are inconsistent. Vocabulary conveys meanings but likely to be simple and imprecise. Sentence probably simple and repetitive in structure. Then as you go down, band 1 to 2, insufficient to meet the criteria of band 1 even. So narratives are extremely simple and may narrate events indiscriminately, more like an account, not using the appropriate narrative techniques. So, but your target is to fall in the highest band. If not in the highest band, then make sure that you do not go below the band 7, and your writing is either, your language is either highly accurate or accurate writing. But also keep into account this one, that narratives are complex, sophisticated, possibly tense, try to create some tense situations, and may contain devices such as flashbacks. Your task is to, there are 2 narrative essays, write on either of these, either number 5 or number 6, and make sure that you take care of the marking criteria, the examiner's expectations. And also watch my video on narrative writing that I am including in the description. That will be helpful for you too. After that, start your composition. That's it for now.